We're actually not a protest, a gathering for people that don't want America to go to war. It's about to get started. As you can see, it's already getting heated. We'll see how this turns out. Hi, and what's your name?
I'm Dave.
And why are you out here today?
I set out here today because I wanted to join together with these people to really say, I want to say to the U.S. government that pretty much we don't think that responding to this type of violence with more violence is really going to do anything. And I think that we're faced with a situation here where I feel, I mean, you're torn. Like, on one side you want to do something about what happened, but on the other side, like, I think to myself, no matter what we do, it's not necessarily going to stop this from happening again. And because of that, I think it's just the best to try to save innocent lives if we can.
All right, thanks. Cool.
She's going to come and read these 5 points for all of us.
Woo!
There she goes. Laura from Harvard, if you could step forward, please, to read the 5 points.
Laura!
All right, I'll read the 5 points. 1 is, we want to express sympathy for the victims of Tuesday's tragedy and friends and family they left behind. 2, we want to express our belief in the sanctity of human life. 3, we want to protect civil liberties that we hold dear and fight the scourge of racism towards Muslim and Arab communities in the United States and all over the world. 4, we want to assert the need for an alternative to President Bush's call for war, one that utilizes rationality and compassion, not haste and hate. Number 5 is we want to stimulate dialogue about what America should stand for and its role in stopping the global cycle of violence.
Woo!
I think most importantly what we said there is that violence is a cycle and that we have to stop that cycle. Another thing is there is a sanctity of human life that we all agree on, and that we believe that any one person's life is worth the same amount no matter what country they happen to live in.
Speak louder.
So if everybody can just hang out till 6:30, we're going to try and get some different student groups together over here. If everybody could send like 1 representative or maybe 2 from each student group or each campus, it'd be fantastic. So 6:30 we march.
We're waiting for the march to start, talking to people involved here. And what's your name?
Yeah, Paul.
And you are a student at Emerson, is that right?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Do you want to say a little bit about student groups getting together to all organize for today and why the students are involved?
Yeah, I think, first starting with Emerson, where I go to school, we had a great rally today around 2 o'clock. That was in conjunction with 10 other campuses directly in Boston that were organizing anti-war efforts this afternoon in order to sort of build support for this evening's march, to spread the message that we value the sanctity of human life, express sympathy to the victims of the attack on the World Trade Center, but all coming from all the different academic communities in Boston, share the message that there are alternatives to violent solutions, and we need to stop the cycle of violence from leading to even more innocent lives being lost. It's been great to see lots of different student groups from all different sorts of political perspectives, religious groups, spiritual life groups, activist groups, all coming together to work on this issue.
Have you seen much of a backlash? I've heard that a BU student was stabbed a couple of days ago because someone thought he looked like a terrorist, recent immigrant. Do you want to say anything about what students are trying to do about that, protect people?
Yeah, I think students are doing their best to speak out against this racist backlash. It's a real travesty. Saw reports saying there have been over 300 incidents of anti-Arab racist violence just reported. Those are only the reported incidents nationally, and there have some of this has been popping up on our campuses. I think students want to send a solid message that that's totally unacceptable. Don't want it on our campus. Won't tolerate it on our campus. We need to stand up and confront racism across the board. All forms of racism. Can't let them on campus.
All right, Jeff. Thanks for talking with us. All right. Cable access, channel 10 if you're in Cambridge. Maybe I could just ask you why you're out here today.
Pardon?
Maybe I could just ask you what you're doing here today and that sort of thing.
Because I don't...
Okay, I have to wait for him.
Oh,
All right, we're still waiting for the rally to start. And what is your name?
Gary Rothberger.
And what are you doing out here today? Looks like you're a legal observer.
Yeah, but came to the demo and some other lawyers said, well, you should be a legal observer. I didn't come here necessarily to be a legal observer.
So why did you come today?
Because I want to make it clear that I don't want any missiles thrown at people in my name. I don't want anyone killed in my name. I don't want anybody, but especially civilians, but anybody to be killed because anyone thinks I need any revenge or retaliation.
There definitely is a lot of grief going on in this country, a lot of anger. How do you think we should direct that if it's not missiles?
To changing the policies of the American government and other governments that I think ultimately led to the anger that's directed at this country. It's not that I necessarily, I mean, I guess we always got to make sure we say, I'm not in favor of flying airplanes into buildings with 40,000 civilians in it, but, you know, that didn't start there.
All right, thank you for talking with us. Thanks.
Infinite justice. You think he's Yahweh. You think he's God. The apocalypse has come, George Bush is now God, and he will dispense infinite justice. What does that mean? Infinite justice means it's been a very long war. That means a very long war. Very long war. It's going to be a long war. Yeah, it's going to be long, man. You know, the Russians were there for a long time, man. 79 to like 80, 87 or something. You gotta think of these damn things.
Yeah. Let me look on the menu.
Good, man. Still good about you, right?
I can't sell that as fast.
Definitely a lot of mixed messages on this. That one says we need a Middle Eastern sized parking lot.
They took my shirt.
This is great. I was wondering if there's any... Actually...
That's all.
Did you get death equals bad?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I know.
Because
Hey, go in the middle.
water too if you want it.
It's really blurry.
How much time will we done on that tape?
21 minutes. Or 42 minutes, sorry.
We've just crossed the Mass Ave Bridge. There's a crowd of about 600 people that marched today. You just saw the photos, all kinds of people involved in this march. The anarchists were leading the march, large banners, that kind of thing.
We don't want to get blown up!
All kinds of perspectives here tonight, all kinds of groups, lots of students. This protest is actually seems like a protest. It's a lot different from the feeling at Harvard this afternoon. People are very adamant that they are against war, for peace, and it seems people came out tonight to really express that very strongly. Also, other messages going across, anarchists always saying smash the state, other groups here tonight, but definitely does seem to be a peaceful crowd, and that's about it.
I just wanted to say, this is a beautiful crowd, and
Yes!
and it's a beautiful thing when all these people can come together and not discriminate against race, and not discriminate against each other's religion, and not especially discriminate against each other's ideologies. Because we have the ability to under the knowledge that war is a terrible thing. And we have a couple of speakers here tonight, and my friend Kyle wants to read a poem.
Before I read the poem, I wanted to make a couple of announcements. My name's Kyle. And I'm a student at MIT. First of all, on Sunday at 1 o'clock in Copley Square, a vigil has been organized, and your participation would be appreciated. This is a vigil where a lot of Middle Eastern and South Asian groups have come together to have this. And so we really need your support. As you know, we are at this juncture, South Asian, Middle Easterners, and those of the Islamic faith are in a precarious position, but we do not want our voices to be silenced. At the vigil, it will be very culturally diverse, and you'll get to hear poetry, music, and prayers from many different religions and beliefs. So I hope you can attend. And for those of you that are interested in making political art to take to that event, on Saturday from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. at MIT in Building 5, Room 134, we will have materials available and artists there to make political art. So I encourage you all to come and carry something that's an alternative to the American flag. Let's make our own flag. All right, I'd like to finish by ending with a poem. This poem is written by Tagore, who won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1913. He's a well-renowned poet from Bengal, India. The title of the poem is Mind Without Fear. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action. Into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake.
Hi everyone. My name is Ed. I just walked in from Somerville. I'm holding it really close. Is that better? Okay. My name is Jed, and I just walked over here from Somerville. I had no idea this was going on. But I am really glad to see everyone here. And I just want to say, I want to encourage everyone to do everything they can over the next couple of weeks because things are happening really fast. And if we're going to change anything, we need to change things fast. We need to get out there, we need to organize, and we need to have some kind of cohesion to this. I've seen like 20 different marches in different places today. It needs to get brought together somehow, and everyone needs to do everything they can. And so I just want to let you all know that the reason I'm walking to Harvard Square tonight is I just left my house. I'm walking to Washington. I'm on my way to Washington right now. I know not everyone can take 2 weeks out of their lives to walk to Washington. It's a long fucking way to go to Washington. But everyone do everything they can, okay? And if anyone wants to join me walking to Washington and anyone wants to take off on their own from anywhere else to walk to Washington, there's meetings in Washington on the 29th. There was I believe the IMF thing has been canceled, but there's still a movement to be there on the 29th. And I think everyone should try to get there because that's where it's going down. And I think we need to make ourselves felt in person, all right? That's all. Please.
My name is Mitch. I go to UMass Boston, and I'm a member of the International Socialist Organization. And I just wanted to say a little something about the political significance of what's going on. You know, this George W. Bush, this is the same Bush who was not elected, who did not win the popular vote. The same Bush who walked out of the anti-ballistic missile treaty. The same Bush that walked out of the Kyoto Protocol. The same Bush that walked out of the World Conference on Racism. And that Bush hasn't changed. He ain't doing nothing for America's working people. He ain't doing nothing for the world's working people, for that matter. He's going to exploit this tragedy. He's going to use it to build a military-industrial complex to try and get rid of the Vietnam War syndrome. Because ever since Vietnam, American troops have been hasty, have not been available to go in and sustain ground wars because the people, it is afraid that they would revolt. And he's going to try and use this to get rid of that. He's going to try and use it to build the military-industrial complex, the oil companies of which he is straight from the heart of that. And he's also going to use this to increase police powers. This is about racial profiling, about racism against Arab Americans, African Americans, and people of all colors. And most of all, we have to be vigilant on the fact that we need to question the whole relation of this. Who are the real terrorists? The terrorists that say that the death of 500,000 Iraqi children is worth it when they put the sanctions on Iraq. The U.S. government, the same people that trained Osama bin Laden when the CIA needed him in Afghanistan. The same people that helped Saddam Hussein build a nuclear reactor. The same people that fund Israel's genocide against the Palestinians. The same people that have supported dictators and coup d'etats in countries like Haiti, El Salvador, and Vietnam. The same people, the same ones. These are the real terrorists. They're the ones who have started the cycle of violence, and by their own logic, if we should get rid of countries that harbor terrorists, you know what? We should bomb this country by their own logic. And that shows you right there that we are in the right in asking for peace. We are in the right in saying no war, no more violence, stop the killing, no more innocent death.
I'm going to read a prayer. I'm going to read this prayer that this guy called. All right.
Get the loudspeaker at the building. It's loud. Bring it at the glass. Not up in the air.
All right, I'm going to read a prayer. That I named on Dr.
Close. Hold it close to you.
You read it at the General Assembly of the United Nations in August of 2000. Here we go. I offer this prayer of peace, not to one God or to many gods, not to the Christian, Jewish, Buddhist, or Islamic God, and not even to the indigenous gods of many nations, but to the divinity that we all hold inside, that makes us all brothers and sisters, to make us truly a one family in the name of humanity. I offer this prayer of peace, the cosmic oneness that is our birthright and our privilege and our strength, that we will let it shine and show us the way. It will guide us to the road of peace, not the Christian peace, not the Jewish peace, not the Islamic peace, nor the Buddhist peace, not even the indigenous peace of many nations, but to the human peace that has a place in all the hearts of all people, to allow us to truly fulfill our divine potential to become the children of one humanity. I offer this prayer of peace to allow us to realize the truth of our existence, to allow us to all discover the sanctity of our lives, to allow us all to seek the spirituality of our being. Please allow us to experience with all our hearts and souls the intimate connection to the divine that we all possess inside. For our bodies are the temples of worship, and our souls the altars, upon which shall stand tall and live out the true meaning of our existence. I offer this prayer of peace to declare a revolution of the human spirit. I wish to announce that it is now time for all of us to spiritually awaken and become enlightened. For the time for the enlightened few is over. The age of the elitist enlightenment has passed. For how long do you seek to wait for prophets to come down from mountaintops and tell us what to do? We all must become enlightened to recognize our divinity, to raise up our consciousness and proclaim our independence from blind reliance on long-ago sages and find the answers from our own well of spiritual wisdom. We must ourselves become the enlightened ones. We must ourselves realize our oneness. I declare that we must all become earth humans of the earth, and not of any religion, nation, or race, but of this earth, for this earth, and by this earth, to create a lasting peace on earth. I offer this prayer of peace with all my fellow earth humans for a lasting peace on earth.
Hello, Boston. You guys look so amazing right now. You guys all know that the anti-war movement back in the 60s, the Vietnam anti-war movement. What? Is that good? Is that good? Okay. Alright. I just wanted to say, did everyone here know that the anti-war movement, the Vietnam anti-war movement, began in Boston? This is like, we're beginning history again, here, 2001. Unfortunately, against another war, but we're going to beat this. We're gonna show them that we're not going to take this, that no more innocent people are going to die. Because what we saw on Tuesday was horrible. We don't ever want to see anything like that happen again. And we want peace. We want the violence to end, here and abroad. And the millions and millions of people that will die from George Bush and his policies. There's plenty of money for war, but when it comes to social services, things like education, healthcare, those sort of things that people need, it's not there. It's not there. All of you are too. Sorry I had to vent there for a little bit. Anyways, I'm Gina. I'm from SLAB Student Labor Action Project, and we got this together with a bunch of other people, a coalition of students on campuses everywhere in groups. Citywide, they wanted to see an end to this violence, and I just wanted to tell everyone about that group, and I want to say, most importantly, that the organizing cannot stop here. We have to continue. We need to grow. We need to make sure that everyone knows who we are, that we're not just like, I don't know, 700 students in Boston, that we're everywhere and we're speaking out against this war, and that the mainstream press that tells us every day that it's Palestinians and it's Arabs and it's Muslims, they're the problem, they're the terrorists. We have to say that's bullshit. We want to Anyways, organizing back to that. 6 o'clock at Emerson, SLAP Anti-War Coalition. Alright, we're saying 5:30 now. On Sunday, this Sunday, at 5:30, at 96 Beacon Street at Emerson Student Union, students from all over Boston need to come together to organize what's next. What is our next step? And I think that everyone here who wants this movement to grow needs to be at that meeting. Because we're nothing if we stay this size. We've got to grow, like I said before. So please come to this meeting, bring your friends, tell your friends about it. Make a flyer, very simply. Students are getting together against the war. That's all people have to be against. They want peace and they want this war to end. That's it. Come to this meeting at 6 o'clock. Finally, we have an opportunity. Howard Zinn has agreed to speak at a teach-in at 8 o'clock on this Tuesday night. And I think it's a huge opportunity to spread our message even wider. And we need people on college campuses that's up in the air too. That's up in the air too. We're not sure yet. But I can't not say that just because we don't have a place. Tuesday night, 8 o'clock, keep it open. Okay, how's that? Anyways, I need representatives. We do, it's SLAP here. We need representatives from college campuses. I don't care if you're individuals or you're in groups. We want it always! We want peace! We want it always! We want peace! We want it always! We want peace! We want it always! What do we want? Peace! What do we want? Always! What do we want? Peace! What do we want? Always! What do we want? Peace!
put your hands up in the air. If you're a student and you want to live to 45, put your peace sign up in the air. Okay, website. SLAP doesn't have a website yet. I'm with a group called Boston Mobilization. We're at bostonmobilization.org. Real easy. SLAP will probably have a website soon. You can check that out. These are really tough times, and watching the news doesn't make it any better. So I try not to watch TV, but according to USA Today, like 99.6% of Americans want war, right? Well, I think that's a load of bullshit. Now, we just took a little public opinion poll today, and I saw a lot more people honking and smiling and giving us peace signs than people who part of this movement. You all are very, very brave. You're some of the bravest people in this country. And there are people who are a little bit more afraid to take a chance. What we need to show them is that they are not alone. That there are thousands and thousands and probably millions of people in this country, if not the majority, who, given the facts, will agree that a peaceful resolution to this conflict and that world peace and justice is what's called for. We need to show them. Everybody in this crowd needs to stand up every day. Wear a peace sticker, wear a peace sign, talk to your friends and tell them, I believe in peace. And in a time of war, it's easy to wave a flag, right? It's easy to say bomb them to hell. What's really hard, what's really courageous, is to stand up and say, I believe in peace, right? It's at times like these when it really helps to look back at some great thinkers, and one of those great thinkers and activists is Martin Luther King, and he dealt a lot with injustice. And there were a lot of people in his movement who thought that violence was the answer. Well, I think in organizing against war, we need to do it non-violently. Martin Luther King said that violence is immoral. Violence is immoral because it thrives on hatred rather than love. It destroys community and makes brotherhood impossible. It leaves society in monologue rather than dialogue. Violence ends by defeating itself. It creates bitterness in the survivors and brutality in the destroyers. And nowhere do we see that more than now, where the violence that the U.S. has perpetrated for so many years is coming back to haunt the U.S., right? Where the media and the government are talking with such monologue. In monologue, that's what happens when there's war. What's going to happen? Pakistan has nuclear weapons. Next door is India with nuclear weapons. We have nuclear weapons. Israel has nuclear weapons. Russia and China all have nuclear weapons. What happens if the government of Pakistan is destabilized when we fly over their airspace? What happens if Iran gets involved? We are this close, folks, this close. This isn't like the Vietnam War when millions of brave people protested a war that was not hurting Americans in America. This is a war that can hurt the whole world. And it can hurt us right here, and I think that's a message we need to bring to our friends to say, real quick, and then my friend Chris McCallum has asked that we all do a little repeat after me, which some of you may be familiar with from such things as nursery school in Seattle, 1999.
What happens if we get bombed again? What peace?
What happens if we get bombed again? I think that's a good question. Well, we bombed Afghanistan in 1998 to teach them a lesson, right?
That's right.
3 years later, the world's worst terrorist attack ever. Violence doesn't work. Violence leads to more violence.
What happens if we go to war?
During these days of human travail, we must encourage creative dissenters. We need them. We need them because the thunder of their fearless voices will be the only sound stronger than the blasts of bombs and the clamor of war hysteria. And you all are those voices. All right, repeat after me.
Repeat after me.
Those of us who love peace.
Those of us who love peace.
Must organize as effectively.
Must organize as effectively.
As those who love war.
As those who love war.
As they spread the propaganda of war.
As they spread the propaganda of war.
We must spread the propaganda of peace.
We must spread the propaganda of peace.
We must combine.
We must combine.
The fervor.
The fervor.
Of the civil rights movement.
Of the civil rights movement.
With the peace movement.
With the peace movement.
We must demonstrate.
We must demonstrate.
Teach.
Teach.
And preach.
And preach.
Until the very our nation are shaken.
Until the very foundations of our nation are shaken.
We must work unceasingly.
We must work unceasingly.
To lift this nation that we love.
To lift this nation that we love.
To a higher destiny.
To a higher destiny.
To a new plateau of compassion.
To a new plateau of compassion.
To a more noble expression of humaneness.
To a more noble expression of humaneness.
Go home for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and Christmas, and every other holiday. Talk to your parents. Tell them, I believe in peace. Talk to your friends. Tell them, I believe in peace. Put peace stickers on every sign in this city. Put it up on your dorm room. Put it up on your workplace. Show this country that we're not going to tolerate war, that a new generation is rising up, and that we will achieve a peaceful and just world.
The Afghan people are as tired, and are as hurt, and are as fed up with terrorism as we have become since last Tuesday. And they've been that way for years and years and years. The Afghan people do not need to see any more bombs in their homeland. They do not need to see any more. In their country. Yeah. They do not need any more violence. They go through it every day. America does not need to fight the Afghan people. They are helpless as it is. America needs to use their brains, not their weapons, to get to the root of the problem. Yeah. Let's use our minds and not our guns, and love everybody no matter what faith or religion or what part of the world they're from.
I think one of the most important I think one of the most important chants that we had tonight was the one that said, "Stop the racist attacks against the Arab community." I think we should make sure that George W. Bush and the rest of the warmongers in Washington, D.C. hear us. Stop the racist attacks
against the Arab community. Stop the racist attacks against the Arab community. Stop the racist attacks against the Arab community. Stop the racist attacks against the Arab community. Stop the racist attacks against the Arab community. Stop the racist attacks against the Arab community. Stop the racist attacks against the Arab community. Stop the racist attacks.
And the only way George W. Bush and the Pentagon are going to hear that is if we all organize and mobilize for September 29th to demonstrate against him, to give him our voice, and it's what we have. I'm with the International Action Center, and we're organizing bands to leave from Roxbury Community College, and we want you there to give voice to everyone that wasn't here tonight. And I want to thank everyone for showing up, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
I'm going to let the opposition speak in a moment, I promise. Oh, okay. I don't. I mean, I don't see the difference, but I don't. No, absolutely, and everybody gets their fair say completely and totally. That's that line. Because if we're Americans, and one of the major standpoints of America is to have the First Amendment, which is why we're allowed to do what we're doing today. We're allowed to come out here and we're allowed to say, we don't like it. at all. One of the most overt problems with nationalism, in my opinion, among the many, is the fact that we forget that there are people living in the countries. It's not just a flag. We hide behind that, and we forget that there's blood running through the veins of every single person living in every single nation. True organization should not come through hiding behind the country and a country's ideals. It should come from what we're doing right now, the people coming together and saying what we have to say. That is the truth in all of it. If we want the terrorism to stop, we have to stop. Let's let violence end here and continue coming together as a people.
Hi. I don't know what this is. Hello. It is still possible to use nuclear and atomic energy to propel us upward and not to blow each other up. It is possible to use atomic and nuclear energy to propel us upward and not to blow each other up. We can. This war is not about land. It is about pride, and it is silly. Peace. Volunteers if anyone wants to help. Thank you. That's all.
Let me try it. See if I could use this one. Hi, my name's Steve Kirschbaum. I'm with the United Steelworkers of America. You are the voice of America, not the prepackaged, homogenized, best media that money can buy news we're getting. You are the voice of America. The anti-war movement of this millennium, labor people like myself will take our proud positions shoulder to shoulder with you to say no to war. To say we have to realize that just as the old expression said, the first casualty in war is the truth. And that's what we're seeing today. Now, the tragedy that happened at the World Trade Center, the dying that went on there was disproportionately from my union brothers and sisters. It was workers that died there. Go to the AFL-CIO's website. It's very instructive. The top 2 floors had windows of the world. Members of the Hotel and Restaurant Workers Union, they couldn't get out. They all perished. Mechanics, carpenters, air conditioner repair, service employees, clerical and technical, that's who did the dying. Yes, this was the most horrific outrage, but we are not being told what happened. We are being asked to rely on the words of the Pentagon war makers. On George Bush, let's not forget, we in the labor movement were organizing a demonstration for Washington, D.C. when the World Bank and the IMF were coming. Because we in labor knew George Bush was a thief who stole the election. He has no credibility. We know that the CIA has supported dictators all over the globe. We have got to get an independent investigation. Nobody is being brought up to tell what's going on. We get one after another Pentagon press conference. That's what we got. We got the media being cheerleaders. We even got the Boston Globe this week telling you all that the demonstration on September 29th in the White House has been called off. Well, that's bullshit. Just like we are here tonight in Harvard Square, and they're out there in Western Mass, they're out there in every part of the state, and they're out there right in New York City. We're going to bring every city together, and with were told before the Vietnam War escalated that the Vietnamese had attacked us in the Gulf of Tonkin. It took years, but when the Pentagon Papers came out, what was it? It was a sham and a fraud to foment war. Now, we don't know what took place exactly at the World Trade Center. But I'll tell you, every press conference raises more questions than answers anything. And we should be suspicious. You cannot expect to get the truth from the Fox on what happened in the chicken house. Look at the way they talk about Bin Laden. Bin Laden was on their payroll. We know that. Every dictator all over the globe has been on that payroll. And I'll tell you right now, they want to try and stop us from raising our voices. They want to take the Constitution and tear it up. And all of us should make sure, that's right, we're going right to your door, George Bush, next Saturday. A month ago, not even. What did he do? He called off the government prosecution of Microsoft, paying back a $5 million campaign contribution. This president, more than any other, is pro-big business, anti-poor, anti-black, anti-oppressed people, anti-lesbian and gay, you name it. He distinguished himself as the governor by committing more state-sanctioned murder, that's right, murder, than any governor. I'm talking about death row. I'm talking about what this guy stands for. We're not going to forget that. With his John Wayne style, we're going to get him dead or alive. No way. He's going to see all of our movements will unite. This Saturday, the Women's Fight Back Network of the IAC is having a demonstration on Park Street. You should come there. They're coming and meeting with the Iraqi Peace Vigil, who have been talking about the fact that 1.5 million Iraqis have been brutally killed by sanctions. Isn't that terror? It's terror on the installment plan. I'll wrap up. What I think we got to do is put all of our agendas together. No, we can ill afford any sectarianism. We have got to be one voice. And that's why I say, whenever there's an opportunity, we're going to be out on the streets. Hey, the Globe, the Herald, all the news media, they may not cover this, but we got to be our own media. That's why we say, we say no. Racist war has got to go. One last thing I want to say. We had a chant earlier that said, give the money to the victims. Don't give the money to the Pentagon. It's an atrocity what Bush is doing. You know, you've seen it. They're calling in the head of the airlines, all the airline owners and bosses, and they're bailing them out with big money. But 100,000 of my union sisters and brothers were given pink slips this week. And have they said they're going to give them money? Are they going to help them with jobs? No. In fact, I got to wake up every morning before I get on my bus at 5 o'clock in the morning, open the papers and see full-page ads by every corporate hack that is busting out unions 365 days of the year, doing their little crying of crocodile tears. They want to help out. All those workers that work for those places, you pay them 2 years' pay until they can get another job. You take care of their homes. I'll end it with that. We say we've got to stop this war. George Bush, we say no. Racist war has got to go. George Bush, we say no. Racist war has got to go. George Bush, we say no. Racist war has got to go. George Bush, we say no. Racist war has got to go. George Bush, we say no.
Alright, I want you guys to think carefully about what he was saying, because look at what happened last week. Alright, 2 days after this attack, there was almost a unanimous resolution by the Senate and the Congress. God's son called forth the mutinous winds, and twixt the green sea and the azure vault set roaring war. Hatred springs from the ashes of hate. When the cloud-capped towers disbanded fell, the world burned on the altar of faith. The city was crushed beneath that weight. As sirens sang, death fell. Hatred sprang from the ashes of hate. Bearing witness to man's worst trait, even hell's cooks wrenched to smell the world that burned on the altar of faith. Those who stood at Hiroshima's gate, known as man's long arm that rings death's bell. Will hatred spring from the ashes of hate? In the name of God and state, how many heathen are dispatched to hell? Will the world burn on the altar of faith? Who now must be martyred at the stake to break this devilish spell? Hatred springs from the ashes of hate. Do not burn the world on the altar of faith.
Well, if you wonder what you're watching, it's a protest for peace here at Harvard Square, the pit. Erica Jones, CCTV, signing off. Hope everybody had a good day thinking about peace.
I'm Josh. I'm with the